The purpose of this short video is not to be critical of tire shops, but I do want to point out a couple things that they tend to miss or not do. And there's probably a number of reasons they don't do this, including saving money. But I found they do not use torque wrenches. They tend to over-tighten the bolts, and that's not a big deal until you try to change a tire out on a freeway with a factory lug wrench. Then you think, oh man, I wish they would have not over-tightened the wheels. The other thing they don't do is they generally don't clean the rust on the back side of the wheels and on the hubs. Now you say, well, why is that a problem? The problem is if the rust builds up too much, it'll keep the wheel from mounting flush onto the hub, and it can create some vibration or wobble in your tires. So if you go out on the road and your tires are shaking, it may not be a balance issue. It may be that these have never been cleaned. And even though they clean them, they may not put a compound on them that I recommend to keep them from rusting in the future. This one has probably been cleaned sometime in the distant past, but I recently just had these tires put on this car about 4 months ago, and sure enough, I took them off to do some brake pads, and I'm going to show you the rust here and also the rust on the hubs. But I use this tool right here to clean this rust off. And then what I prefer doing is taking anti-seize compound and putting a light coat on this. And once I get it on there with a brush, I'll just take my finger and wipe it. You don't need much. This compound is amazing, and it will keep the hub and the wheel from rusting together. This is extremely important if you live in an area where they use road salt, okay? If the rust is built up and you can feel a ridge there, that's when you may have problems getting the tires to run true. You want to make sure these mating surfaces are clean. And I'll go ahead and hit this with compressed air. This is sometimes where you get wheels actually seize to the hub itself. So I'm going to put a fairly heavy coat, and then I'll take my finger and just spread that out a little bit. How can I make sure I get this done? You might want to talk to your tire shop. You might want to ask them, will you do this for me? Will you clean the hubs and the wheels and apply some anti-seize compound? And will you use a torque wrench? And they may do that for you, because I tell you, if you don't use a torque wrench, not only can these bolts get over tightened, but I've actually seen wheels fall off on the freeway because they did not tighten them enough. You may have to end up doing this yourself after you get your car back from the tire shop. I'm sure that some of you are thinking, hey, Kent, you're overstating the importance of this. That's not a big deal. Well, can you believe this? Within a day of shooting that video, I get this Mercedes up on the lift. I'm taking the front tire off to inspect the brakes, and look at this. I pulled all the lug bolts out. I'm thinking, man, did I forget a lug bolt? But this wheel won't come off. Can you imagine some poor person out on the freeway trying to get this off? Now, I'm going to have to go get a big soft face hammer, or I'm going to have to get a big chunk of wood and beat on this tire in order to get it off. So I am not overstating the importance of this issue here. Now, just a word of caution before you start banging on the tire to try to get it off the hub. Either put a lug bolt back in loosely or put your mounting tool pin in, so when you hit on this, it's not going to fly out and land on your foot. Okay, I'm going to use a big, heavy, soft-faced hammer, and I'm just going to hit the top of the rim. And then I'll come over here and rotate it. Look at that. This thing is not coming off. Okay, now I'm going to get in behind. Oh, I'm getting too old to do this. Oh, turkey, those tire shops. Come on. What? He just had new tires put on this, about a year ago. I give up. So now that I really have to start beating on it, I've removed that mounting pin and reinstalled a lug bolt. It's loose because I'm going to have to really hit this hard, and I do not want this flying off. So I'm going to start out by using this block of wood and get a little bit heavier hammer, and I'm going to hit right on the end of the rim here. Not quite. There we go. Notice I'm using plywood here. Do not use a 2x4, it'll split. Okay, there you have it. Look at that. What do they say? The proof is in the wheel. How many times do you think I'm going to need to harp on this issue right here? 2, 3, 4, 5? It seems like it's so neglected, I'll just keep harping until I can't harp any longer.